It's okay.
Hello, I'm Leonardo Holloway. What does this drink look like to you? I'll give you some hints. It was the oldest alcoholic beverage in the entire world. It was very popular among the entire Eurasian supercontinent at some point in time, and has largely fallen by the wayside, but has seen a little bit of an upsurge in recent years. This mystery drink is mead. Mead, an alcoholic beverage made with honey, was one of many popular drinks in the world, and although it has fallen out of style, it has really surged in popularity in the recent years. You might be wondering what exactly mead is. Well, let me show you. Mead is made with fermented honey, sometimes made with some other items for flavor. It is fermented to make the alcohol in it. Fermentation is the process by which yeast can create ethanol. Yeast, which is a microorganism, is found naturally in the air and on the skin of some fruits. Yeast colonies transform oxygen and simple sugars into carbon dioxide, which makes some alcoholic drinks fizzy, and ethanol. Ethanol is the variety of alcohol which can be consumed by people. Fermentation is a necessary step in the creation of all alcoholic drinks. Mead, while considered as its own drink, has many diverse varieties. Varying the fermentation time and diluting the mixture, mead can be made to be sweeter or drier. It can also be made to be fizzy or not fizzy, depending on when it is bottled. And it tastes different based on its heat. Hotter mead tends to accent tartar flavors, while colder mead tends to accent sweeter flavors. Many people drink mead differently based on tradition and preference. There are many traditions surrounding the consumption of mead due to its age as a drink. Mead has had actually a major impact on civilization and humanity. Mead was a staple drink in many cultures of antiquity. The oldest fermented drink ever found was part mead and part rice wine, according to chemical analyses by McGovern and others. Mead was referenced in the Rig Veda, which is an ancient Sanskrit hymn. And Aristotle mentions mead in his treatise, Meteorologica. Traces of mead is present in pottery fragments from the archaeological culture, the Bell-Beaker culture. The Bell-Beakers culture had an area of influence that included most of Europe at one point anyway. Some cultures form strong mythology and rituals about mead. In Norse myth, mead was considered to be a godly drink, and there was said to be a vat of mead, which, when consumed, gave the drinker powers of great scholarship and poetry, according to John Mark. Mark, who is a historian, claims that monasteries worked in mead to their rituals and daily life. In Old English literature, such as Beowulf, mead plays a very important ritual role to warriors and other people. It was a significant economic industry across most of Europe at one point in time. Mark compiled a couple of facts about its trade and its production. Olaf of Norway heavily controlled mead production in order to get back on some feudal lords who had angered him. This led to the killing of Olaf's steward and eventually the death of Olaf himself. Eric Magnusson of Norway limited consumption of mead to taverns to increase tax revenue. If it was so popular, what went wrong? Well, it's fallen out in recent centuries, but it has had a resurgence in the past couple of decades. It lost popularity after the Romanization of Europe, which led to an increased popularity of wine. Some Christian rulers banned alcohol entirely, although many people still drank regularly. Popularity mostly fell after the Renaissance, because other wine, beer, alcohol, and spirits generally became more common. Mead and ale and other drinks faced taxes, and it became less fashionable. Although mead has seen a minor resurgence, it has had its spotlight in the public eye recently with celebrity influences and some media attention. There were 150 meaderies in 2009, and now there are 500 in 2019. Mead has gone hand in hand with human history, although it hasn't been popular for a while. So if you're ever shopping for alcohol, make sure to pick up a little mead. Every glass has a lot of history behind it. I'll take questions now.
So how long does it take mead to turn into alcohol, like the honey water mixture to the beverage?
Well, the honey water mixture takes usually a couple of weeks to ferment and become any alcohol, but it can take longer depending on how strong you want the mead to make. And many people often age their mead, which it's a process that can take months or years.
Was mead more popular with a certain social class, like the upper class or lower class or anything?
Mead was popular among all social classes in most parts of Europe, but most cultures. Although, during the Romanization of Western Europe and Northern Europe, it was seen as a lower class drink. The upper classes tended to favor wine, which was seen as more Roman.
And did you buy that mead somewhere, or did you make that yourself, like you said, with the, you can make it with yeast?
I did make this mead myself. I used a simple honey water mixture, so it doesn't have much added flavoring, although I did make it myself. You can usually buy it at many liquor stores. Many chain liquor stores carry some mead nowadays.
Hmm.
And what kind of alcohol content does it have?
The alcohol content of mead ranges anywhere from 3 to 18% by volume, and it has a tendency to be in the upper regions of that, although many meads are much weaker. That all? Cool.
Thank you.